Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Refuge from Narcissism, and this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Julia, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I left a PayPal donation for this video. I hope this helps with the medical bills, and I hope Charlene feels better and is able to recover soon. I've taken care of patients with Bell's palsy, and it can be scary at first. It sounds like she's coping well, along with your love and support. Tell her I wish her the best and a speedy recovery. I don't know if you've covered this subject, and if so, I can't find it in your videos. You've helped me in the past more than the counselor that I see 2 or 3 times a year. I've seen this counselor for years, and she helped me see that I was married to a narcissist borderline and helped me through the divorce, but I haven't been able to gain my confidence and self-esteem back even with her help. It just feels like I'm talking to her and she doesn't give me any real advice. I was wondering if people are able to recover from years of narcissistic abuse and get their self-confidence and self-esteem back. Lately, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and thinking about my childhood and my adult life now, and I am not sure how to change for the better. I know my childhood and my parents influenced my personality and why I ran straight in the arms of a narcissist when I got married. I think I was raised by a covert narcissist mother or borderline or just professional martyr. My brother was the golden child and son husband who still lives with my boomer parents in their house upstairs with his wife and now new foster baby. My father was always the silent type and ignored me and my brother. He's a Vietnam veteran who suffered from PTSD. He would have angry outbursts when he wasn't silent, and it seemed like he was frustrated all the time about something and angry about something he couldn't identify. My mother pretty much ran the house, and he was fine with whatever she did. Our grandmother lived next door, and she was a nasty woman to me, always tearing me down and saying mean things. Your hair video triggered a memory I have of her when my grandmother ruined my hair. In 6th grade, she took me to the beauty salon without my mother's permission and had my long brunette hair cut short and then tightly curled like an 80-year-old woman. I don't mean to laugh, but of course. And that's a woman thing, man. That's something the mother does to you, man. They hate their daughters. They hate their daughters, and the easiest way to attack them, even though it says your grandmother, is through their hair. My hair looked and felt like a sheep's back. I cringe at pictures of myself from that time. My long hair was beautiful and I would braid it, but my grandmother couldn't have that. At the same time, I developed breast acne and had to start wearing glasses and braces. I was a preteen that now looked horrible and I got made fun of at school. And my question is, what did your parents say? You said she did it without permission. Like, what did your parents didn't freak out? Like, what made you fucking do this? How dare you do this? This is why you have no self-esteem, because nobody ever stood up for you. You're abused. You're made to feel like, you're a problem, and nobody stands up for you when your grandmother cuts all your freaking hair off and makes you look like a poodle. Before this, when I was little, my grandmother would watch me and my brother when my parents were at work. She would drop us off at my great aunt and uncle's house while she went shopping or to the beauty salon. I don't want to go into much detail, but I was molested at a young age by my great uncle. I take solace now that I think he's probably burning in hell. He threatened me and told me to never tell anyone. I didn't tell my mother until I was an adult, and of course, she didn't believe me. Why would you make that? Come on. It screwed me up for a long time, and I became very withdrawn and shy as a child. As a nurse, I see children who are abused, and I had all the red flags as a child, but my mother and grandmother did nothing. I wonder sometimes if my younger brother was molested by our uncles as well. By our uncle as well. He didn't date anyone until he was 40 and still lives at home with his new wife and baby now. For years, I thought he was gay with the amount of clothes he bought and the company he kept, as well as his extreme Christian values, where he hates gays and blames me for my teenage daughter being gay. After the excuse me. After the abuse from my great uncle, like I said, I became very shy and withdrawn child. I also developed stomach issues where my stomach would hurt and I would have to go home. A narcissistic teacher picked up on this in school and made me her target. I was bullied for 2 years by this woman because I went to a small school and we had the same teachers for multiple grades. Every day she would get in front of the class and yell at me if I didn't make eye contact. I sat at my desk looking down, but I was always paying attention. I remember one time she took my book bag out of the cubby and placed it on her desk in front of the class. Started pulling out random papers and drawings and other things I had in my book bag and said to the class, "See, class, this is unorganized. Look at this mess. Don't be like Julia. She is unorganized and a bad student." Oh, trying to fight off a sneeze. From that point on, what a few friends I had deserted me. I tried to sit with other girls at lunch, and every day she told me I couldn't sit with them. I remember hearing them say once as I walked away, "She is so stupid. Why does she always try to sit with us?" I remember crying once and telling my mother I had no friends at school. She answered me by saying, "What do you want me to do? Go down to the school and beg the kids to be your friends?" What a mom. What compassion. I didn't have any friends growing up. You need to grow a thicker skin. When she had a parent-teacher conference with my teacher, she told me, "I have never been more embarrassed than I was today." I used to hear that too after every parent-teacher conference, how humiliated they are, how embarrassed they are, that I'm their son, because I can't pay attention or won't pay attention. And, didn't matter. I was 2 years younger than everybody thrown in, and I've talked about that at length. And there's always a teacher, and understand something. The bullying from the teacher has been going on, even though these teachers now are even worse. The teachers then were, sometimes just as bad. Because when you got a bad teacher, what they do is they like to target a couple children and make them the reason why they suck at teaching. Same thing narcissist does, projects. Here I was expecting to hear good things from your teacher, and she told me how you don't pay attention in class and you're always writing stories or drawing instead of going outside for recess. Right. When a kid is not paying attention in class, that is not on the kid. It is on the fucking teacher. That's on the teacher. Don't yell at me at 7, 8 years old because I'm looking out the window, because that's what a 7, 8-year-old does. If you can't hold my fucking attention, that's on you. That's on you. Well, other kids can pay attention. Well, not every kid is the same, are they? And when you got a kid who's not paying attention, who's constantly looking out, off somewhere else, not following along, it's because something's going on at home. It's because something bad is happening to this fucking child. But it's just much easier to blame the child, call the child lazy or stupid, or, you just don't care, like over and over and over again. It was like that for me in school until I found my tribe, so to speak. I got involved in the arts in high school and made several friends, but everything I did was considered stupid by my parents and my brother. If I wanted to watch Star Trek or Star Wars, I was told I was stupid. If I wanted to listen to hip hop or rock instead of Southern gospel, I was told that was stupid and wrong as well. I felt like anything my brother did was considered right and I was the wrong one. Everything my parents did was to please my brother. If we went out to a restaurant, we had to go where Daniel wanted to go because he only eats meat and potatoes. They told me I was stupid because I like sushi and other ethnic foods. Anything I did was considered dumb because it wasn't what my brother did. Yeah, and your brother's still living at home at 40 years old. Okay? You know, it sounds a lot like my ex-wife and my ex-brother-in-law, who's now dead. Okay, same type of deal. Even my own brother. Everything was centered around what my brother wanted. What I wanted was stupid. Nobody cares about it. It was basically nobody cares. Nobody cares what you want. Nobody cares what you want. You're last. And I was told that repeatedly. You're last. I think I became an overachiever and a people pleaser because I wanted my parents' approval, and you were never going to get it. I graduated in the top of my class in high school, got a full scholarship to college, and even became an officer in the military and a trauma nurse, but nothing has gained their approval. I feel like my brother could shit on a stick and they would think it was gold. No matter how much I achieve, I still have no confidence and my self-esteem is really low because you're not trying to prove, because you're trying to prove something to people who are unpleasable. That's the goal. The more you try to please them, the more they're going to reject you. That's the goal. They want you to work hard to give you nothing, so it's all for naught to demoralize you. And the only person that you should be trying to prove anything to is yourself. But you're not taking, the reason you don't is because you're not taking yourself seriously. You don't take anything you do seriously. It's like, if your parents don't approve of it, it doesn't really matter. And I get it. But the only person that matters is you, not them. The harder you try to get their approval, the further away you're going to get from it. I've been the target of bullies at my job as an emergency room nurse, but I've always been able to deal with it by not working the same shift as the bullies or trying to ignore it. I tell myself, just do your job and go home. Your coworkers are not your friends. I'm very good at my job, and I have younger nurses come to me for advice or help. I'm a trained trauma nurse, and I am always calm in life-threatening emergencies. I even saved a motorcyclist's life on the side of the road a few months ago. He was hit by a car and wasn't breathing, and I was the first one on the scene, so I couldn't just ignore him and drive on. I got out of my car without thinking and took over. I did CPR until the ambulance could get there, and he was airlifted to a trauma center. I even met him later when his family looked me up to thank me. I was told by his family that had I not stopped, he would have died before the ambulance got there. It was in a rural part of the state where he had to be airlifted out. I don't know why I can't take that experience and exhibit more confidence. Because you're not taking yourself, because you don't take yourself seriously. And that's what the narcissist took from you. That's what your parents took from you. You're constantly trained to try to impress them, and they're never going to be impressed. So you never even validate. You want their validation to take yourself seriously. You don't need their validation to take yourself seriously. You're never going to get it. Ollie, I literally saved a man's life in the middle of the road, and I can't bring myself to feel good about myself for that. How messed up am I that I can't even imagine, I can't even give myself some credit for that. In addition to that, I think my low self-esteem and confidence has made me a target all my life. It always does. Yeah, when you have no self-esteem and no confidence, you're a target. You give off that aura. It's ringing the dinner bell. It's like chum in the water for sharks. I started a new nursing job closer to home with more money and better hours, and it has been great up until recently. Nurse bullies are passive aggressive, and I think they pick on the one person that they think they can bully and get away with. This latest bully is the charge nurse, and she has been suspicious of me since I started, asking me questions like, why are you coming to this hospital to work? You don't want to work here. Are they bringing you here to train you to be management? See, and this is, this is whenever you have too many women working together, okay? This is a woman-on-woman thing. This is what women do when there's too many of them working together. On comes the competition, the paranoia, the bullying, and now you're right back at the middle school lunch table. This place is a horrible hospital to work at. You'll quit in a few weeks. Charge nurses bully other nurses by giving them harder assignments. At night, she is the charge nurse. I get slammed with difficult patients while she sits at the desk and chats with other nurses that are her buddies or looks at her phone. She makes snide remarks at me or makes remarks like she is trying to be funny at my expense, but pretending to be friendly. She has made all these passive-aggressive comments in front of her other nurse buddies. You should make a comment back, like, geez, I didn't realize you brought your high school lunch table to work with you. Like, what is this? Like, what is this? Sometimes you just got to call it what it is. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was a hospital, not the cheerleader section. I'm not trying to be, don't worry, I'm not trying to be captain of the cheerleaders. Don't worry. That's what you got to do. Don't worry, I'm not a threat to you. I don't want to be captain of the cheerleaders. Mean girl. I've had 3 ICU patients at once in the ER, and we hold in the ER because there are no empty ICU rooms with the hospital being full. I found myself running back and forth between my 4 rooms that I'm responsible for, trying to keep intubated patients sedated and having to fix things with the ventilator alarming that something is wrong. I've had to manage multiple septic patients with the doctors breathing down my neck that I haven't started antibiotics quick enough or drawn blood on their patients because I'm trying to keep the ICU patients alive while other nurses are sitting at the desk. I've come home some days with my legs aching because I've walked 7 miles in the ER on that shift. I don't know if my lack of self-confidence comes off in my personality and that's why I get bullied. I'm very good at my job and other charge nurses have told me they love working with me. I wonder if the charge nurse bully is jealous of me because I have been a charge nurse before and she thinks I'm going to take her job. Of course she is. Of course that's what it is. It's always about competition. It's always about competition. My counselor has said I need to treat myself like I'm my best friend to myself. She says that I am hard on myself, but at the same time, she doesn't tell me how to fix things. I've read several self-help books on building confidence, but they don't help either. At times, I still feel like that shy little girl who was told by her mother and grandmother that everything I did was stupid, or that little girl that was yelled at and made fun of by her teacher. My daughter is a black belt in karate and has self-confidence coming out her ears, especially when she beats up a guy that is bigger than her in the class that she helps teach. I started taking karate to see if that would help, and the sensei picked up on my lack of confidence and self-esteem right away. Taking this class has been very emotional for me because I have so little self-confidence that I hold back when I fight someone and it shows. He says I'm afraid of emotional content. That's how expressive you are when you perform kata, which is a set of moves that looks like you're fighting someone. I feel like someone is going to tell me I look stupid even though I'm in class. I'm in a class full of people doing the exact same thing. I get all that. Constantly on trial, constantly being judged, and you're never judged fairly. And the outcome is never good. My daughter has told me, Mom, you're a girl boss, start acting like one. I don't want to model this behavior of lack of self-confidence and self-esteem to my kids, and it looks like that's what I've been doing so far. Ali, I feel stuck, and I know this lack of confidence started in childhood, and I don't know how to get it back. How do you heal from the abuse and move on after cutting the narcissist out of your life? How do you make positive changes when you find yourself the target of narcissistic bullies in life and feel stuck in these behaviors? Any advice you can give me will be helpful. I'm slowly trying to come out of my shell in karate class and think that is helping, but I can't silence the memories and voices from my past that tear me down. Thank you again, Ollie, and I hope this video helps others as well. Sincerely, Julia. Well, you got a lot of self-esteem problems and a lot of self-confidence problems. And it's very apparent where they all come from. And I had these very, very similar upbringing, okay, where I was told everything I did was wrong or stupid or didn't matter and I couldn't do anything right. Okay, I didn't pay attention in school. I was always looking out the window. I couldn't follow along. All of it. All of it. I don't know how to get across to you that you need to take yourself seriously and take your accomplishments seriously. I mean, you know what your accomplishments are. You've rattled them off. You can back them up. But yet, you still don't take them seriously. Why? Because you never got validated by your parents, and they were never going to validate you. Never. It didn't matter. You could go and cure cancer tomorrow. You could go run into a fucking burning building and save 50 orphans and 20 nuns, okay? Suffer third-degree burns and sacrifice. It still wouldn't be good enough. There's nothing that you can do that is going to be good enough in their eyes, and that is the whole point. You're trying to validate yourself to people who have a 40-year-old man living in their house. A 40-something-year-old man who they gave everything to. They handed it all to. And what did he do with it? He's still living at home with mommy and daddy. You need to take all this and look at it as a whole and say, I overcame all this shit to get to the point where I'm at now. I need to get to where I got to this point despite all of this shit. All of it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they didn't validate you. It was because you were chasing it in the first place that you were able to get it. You were able to get to this point. So you got to look at it like that. You tried to destroy me, but in you trying to destroy me, I was actually able to better myself and get to a point where I'm stable financially or whatever, you know, a good job where you have value, that you're saving lives. Hopefully not making TikTok videos during the pandemic, but you know what I mean. Now, as far as the bullying that is going on at work now, you got to hit this bitch where it hurts. She's doing it because you're allowing her to do it. Fuck the fact that she's the charge nurse. You got to be able to say to yourself, well, you know what? You had another job, you got this job, you could get another job. Especially as a nurse, because they're so goddamn short-staffed. There is no fucking reason now that you should be putting up with this bitch's fucking behavior. None. Because there's plenty other jobs you can relocate to. I don't know what the deal is in your city, but there is a need for fucking ICU nurses and hospital nurses everywhere in the goddamn country. You don't need to be putting up with this shit. You don't. You need to stand up to yourself. You need to call her out on the carpet. You need to be like, this isn't high school. This isn't the cheer squad, honey. This isn't the lunch table. I'm not trying to take your boyfriend. I'm not trying to steal anything from you, you paranoid bitch. You need to stand up for yourself because nobody else is going to do it. You can only validate yourself in this situation. And you're only going to be able to validate yourself by fucking standing up for yourself once and for all. And if they fire you, if you lose your job, then so be it. I know that's tough, but you're going to hate yourself if you could continue to try to figure out a way to put up with this bullshit. At some point, you're going to have to find out what your value is. And I wouldn't suggest going to human resources or anything like that, making a complaint, because the person that makes the complaint usually is the one who gets thrown out the door. Let the charge nurse make the complaint. Let her. And then you could say, this woman runs this floor like it's a high school, like it's the cheerleading squad, and I'm trying to steal her captainship. And you need to call her out. And preferably, you need to call her out in front of her little nurse friends, in front of her little clique. And once you do that, you show in front of other people that you're not afraid to stand up for yourself. You'll be surprised how many of those women will then want to be your friend. Trust me. It's a pack mentality. It's a pack mentality. And you got to prove to the pack that you're not prey. And I would almost guarantee that if you call this woman out in the right way, she will back right down. I wasn't saying that. You're a good nurse. I know how these fucking people roll. When you call them out and you call them out in front of other people, and even if she does freak out, go ahead, let her. I guarantee you the other nurses will respect you for it. Because, as bad as the economy is and things are, the medical field, nursing, they're desperate. You don't need to put up with this shit. The only person that can give you your self-esteem back is you. That's it. You're the only one who can validate yourself, because the narcissist is never going to do it, because they're the ones who broke you in the first place. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much, Julia, for your contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal or Zelle and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care.